Shut up and sit down.
Our final match of the night in Play Day Numero Tres. That's number 3 for all of you non-Spanish speakers. I'm time to light that right there. That would be the Santisi, who is ever breezy, coming in for the first time in All World Gaming Season 3. It's a game of threes this time around, as it's actually our 4th match of the night. How do you feel? It's Vipers and Aviate, the top versus the bottom of Division Numero Uno.
Well, let me tell you this, okay? Vipers at the top, Aviate at the bottom. But we have a spicy map to get to playing on. We're going to be heading to the theme park, which means anything can happen. Now, granted, yes, Aviate going through a little bit of roster turnover. They're at the bottom of the league. And Vipers have been playing together for as long as I've been casting, whether it be here or Genesis. And Vipers, obviously, you know, they've had that chemistry. They've had a chance to develop that together. But have we seen theme park from Vipers? Probably not.
So I mean, not in this league, but I saw Vipers 2 weeks ago in said aforementioned league. They won. It wasn't really close. They're well prepped on every map. I want to note that super duper quickly. Vipers are well practiced. It is very, very good from them. But again, it's Aviate, and a team that hasn't played as well as we've seen on the more conventional maps. Notably, they lost 2 Vipers on their off-stream match, 7-4 on Bank, which is getting more and more common as it's played more often. The more you play it, the more others are going to play it, because the practice you'll get on it and some information you'll get from your opposing teams, whether it's just in terms of the strats that you want to bring out yourself or the strats that you need to counter in terms of VOD reviewing. Also, if you're a T3 team, make sure you VOD review, because if you're just playing amateur Siege, then you're just playing because you like video games, not because you want to get better. And as much as I hate to bring out the hot takes, it's true.
Shots fired from a caster. Okay. Yeah, I have to echo what Tom DeLight said, though. Watch VOD, but also to bring back the COD references, because I was doing that last game. Watch VOD with a purpose. Don't just watch VOD to watch VOD. Watch it to improve something and target one thing inside of your gameplay. Like, even if you're inside of ranked, right? You can use the ranked period to try and improve something, whether that be peaking, whether that be information game, whatever it may have you. So yeah, do everything with a purpose if you are inside of Siege. The bans most certainly showing a purpose as well. Aviate actually banning out Nomad, a really interesting ban there. The flanks are going to be less prominent, or more prominent, excuse me, for the Vipers defensive side, as they are up first. Thatcher, however, is a ban that we expect to see all the time, and Kaid taken off the board as well.
I'm looking for a Mira ban here. I would be both surprised and or unsurprised with a Mira ban, considering we've already seen Nomad. Yeah, there you go. Mira is the second most banned operator in Rainbow Six Siege, right after Thatcher, because nobody likes Thatcher, apparently. Thatcher actually did get banned this time around compared to what we saw last time, which was, for some reason, and I want to highlight this, a Finka, but in all fairness, Finka does get a crap ton of playtime nowadays. The Adrenal Surges are kind of nuts in terms of some free HP for all of you mathematicians. Again, out there, it's a free 300 health for your team. Overtime, of course, and if somebody's above 100 HP or above whatever their max is, would that be 110 or 125, depending on their speed/armor, that will deteriorate 1 per tick. But we'll see if that helps or hurts this team, because sometimes you're not fully aware that you're going to get stimmed and it scares the crap out of you. That's what happens for me in my ranked games, because I'm not very situationally aware. That's why I cast, because I can be situationally aware with a nice third-person view that Schmitty's giving us. By the way, Schmitty's observing, and as is Geo casting. Geo's filling in for Narwhals this week around, who fortunately can't be with us because Narwhals is weird. No, I'm kidding. I love him. He's a great dude.
I think you meant Geo is producing, because if
did
Geo was
I not say
casting,
that?
you said casting.
Oh yeah, no, Geo's casting. You're not here. You don't exist.
Oh, well, then you are hearing Santos' voice, and Geo's mouth is the maker of the sounds. It's just that you're hearing my voice instead of his, and I have no idea how that would work, and I am genuinely concerned for your mental state. Time to light. You probably should get that checked out. But I mean, nonetheless, we have Vipers here initiating things on the defensive side. They're starting with an initiation room defense, and what that leads me to believe is that Aviate is going to take primarily horizontally. I'm looking at the cash room on this side, and I'm looking in towards the control room to the left. It looks like a horizontal take coming in from there. Maybe you get a pinch going in from Cafe if you have a little bit of time or the manpower to do so. But yep, Aviate going for a very horizontal attack as we head into the round.
I mean, I play Rainbow Six Siege. You should have been worried about my mental state long time ago. KTA Berlin, like I mentioned earlier, on the Finca. Nades being prepped here. Is that one going to land? No, he'll just die. Ani gets aggressive. Nice little swing peek. The SMG-11 does indeed land. Ani, smoke, and a swing peek. Name a more iconic trio. Very, very strong start. An unsurprising start for the Vipers. They open things up with an opening frag. That's about the best way to start things off, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, as long as you can convert that into a round win, but the opening pick has been equalized as Yeji Sosa is going to go down. A very beautiful angle coming in from Sense, who was playing down below inside of the teller's office, I believe that is, and making his way shooting up through the soft wall. A beautiful little angle there to get him what was essentially a freebie, right? Yeji was probably not expecting that, but he will take that and run it into the grave. Now, it seems like Aviate have stalled out here. They're just kind of waiting for this information to come through, with Conman being the primary droner. They have a deployable shield as well as some ADSs to deal with as they make their way up the Dragon Stairs. The question is, do they know that there is a flanker coming in from Vipers? That is Chu and Ani, kind of circling in here with Ani, a mistimed smoke throw, but we'll still be able to land a headshot onto Sense. So Vipers, with a lot of control here, they seem to be stopping Aviate right in their tracks.
I love those timing kills that you still win, though, because it's funny that they're timing, but I'm also glad that you still win the fight, because then I don't have to complain about Rainbow Six Siege timing being a thing. We just saw this. Oh my goodness, the Jaeger just dropped right behind him as well. They finally made it up the Dragon Stairs on the attacking side, though, so the drop is not going to matter a single bit. That shot Beanyot will remove Conman's head, and it's into now actually a 2 versus 3. It's brought back just by 1, but Cuban's getting aggressive, not clearing that far side. Ani on a triple kill, looking for the quad. The shots landed. Fredo on a singular point of health will indeed fall. The headshot from the shotgun, it looked more like an everything shot from that range. The Mossberg does indeed reign true, as does Ani with a 4K in round number 1. Vipers open things up 1-0.
Yeah, it seemed like the Aviate inside of that last round were just very discombobulated in terms of their attack. They seem to be taking these one-on-one gunfights and repositioning as ones as opposed to like 2s and 3s, for example. It seemed like Aviate hasn't fully meshed together in terms of the synchronization just as of yet. And they also had a great deal of trouble dealing with the deployable shield inside of that corner. Yes, you saw the drop, come out from one of the Vipers players, but they had no degree of ADS or ADS clear. That deployable shield was left standing the entire time, and Aviate just seemed like they wanted to get things done through gunfighting. And to some degree, it worked out. Sense was able to pick one up. Cuban with a very nice shot in through a couple of walls as well, but you can't bank on that being the primary factor of success. You need to be able to establish a little bit of that map control. You need to be playing for the objective. Otherwise, Vipers is going to run straight through you like they did in that previous round, with Ani specifically being the lead runner in the case, not wanting to pass off the baton. He picked up a 4K, as you mentioned.
I just want to say it was an SAS ace. If you want to look at it that way, it was an SAS ace. For all of you unfamiliar, yeah, the British counterterrorism units known as the SAS, that being the mute and the smoke. Ani playing the smoke. We saw Beanyot on the mute. They got 5 kills between them.
Some of the best operators in this game.
That's true. Honestly, Thatcher always being banned, justifiably so. Is the Sledge always on that soft breach? There you go, right there. As soon as I mentioned him, he uses the sledgehammer. Pretty nuts. The smoke with that sectional denial on those toxic babes. And Beanyot has the C4 and those mute jammers for both information denial and your life denial. You don't get to live past a lot of those C4s if they're used properly. KTA Berlin looking to make sure their opponents don't live very long. Beanyot, however, does get the opener through a drone hole. Again, the opener goes the way of the Vipers. This time, it's Beanyot to carry that torch, but equally as effective as Fredo. The RCXDs are no longer, at least not in round 2.
It's a common saying inside of Siege that there is absolutely no safe place to be, and Fredo found that out the hard way. Yes, like you said, the kill coming in through the drone hole, and some more information coming in from Aviate. They want to do a little bit of this drone work. They want to be able to set up, I think it's Berlin, to try and get a kill coming up these main stairs, but Vipers are playing a very defensively sound game, right? You see these positionings here from Vipers. They have a lot of refrag potential, and they're mainly stopping Aviate in their tracks, right? Berlin is making his way up the main stairs, but really through no information. He might not be able to get anything going here, but Conman with a very great opening pick, as well as Ani crossing straight into the crosshairs of Berlin. What was once a Viper's round through and through, Aviator clawing back ever so slowly, but they have a minute. They have a minute to work with here. Time to Light. They have plenty of time to get this going, and with Berlin still on the prowl, it seems like they're going to be able to do so. It's down to Chu alone in a 1v4. The guns are singing true for Aviator as we hit the 50-second mark.
50 caliber SMG left alone in this 1 versus 4, brought into a 1 versus 3 as they find the opener onto KTA Berlin, thus far the most fraggingest operator and player, 2 in this round, 2 on the game, tied with Cuban in that right. This is still possible, albeit extremely improbable. 1 over towards vending, the other 2 playing towards that main stair side. There's the clearance though. Cuban's dropped. This is even more possible than it was just a few seconds ago, but they have to push this end quickly. 23 bullets right back into the magazine. It's not planted in a good position for this Thorn, and with both players vacating the premises, it's just not going to happen. There's a nade available. They also have a lot of the ground to cover, and with just 4 seconds to get on that diffuser, they are out of this one. The nade will land. It didn't really matter, but the peek around, they won't even get the kill. Sense is going to flick them out of control. A very, very strong round to open things up, at least the second time around for Aviate. They've brought things back even, and I want to note something super duper quickly, some intricacy of the game that a lot of players overlook. KTA Berlin, you remember when they were walking up those main stairs through the Toxic Babe?
Yeah.
They actually popped the Adrenal Surge right before that. And one thing that Jesco, who's an amazing analyst, by the way, she's awesome, is currently working VCT, not the current point. She's working VCT. She brought this up at the 6 major, I think in Mexico the first time around. They were doing a little bit of an analytical view, and when you pop the Adrenal Surge and walk through a Toxic Babe, you take more damage per second because the Adrenal Surge makes you breathe quicker. Do you know that?
I did know that, actually. Being a nerd who loves who loves knowing the passives of each of the operators. Yeah, I did know that. But I mean, to bring up drive your point home, Jess, yes, a very great analyst and somebody that I hope to work with one day, and almost had the opportunity to until things kind of fell apart and she had to go to sleep. Anyway, Jess is an absolutely amazing analyst, and yeah, the smoke toxic canisters could have definitely delayed things for the Vipers, but I mean, KTA decided, hey, I'm gonna be the ultimate Chingon, as I've learned yesterday. I will not say the word on stream because I will get in a little bit of trouble with Schmitty. But I mean, being an absolute BA Baracus there, you can push through the smoke grenades. That is something that you need to remember if you are a smoke player. You are definitely susceptible to someone pushing through your smoke grenades. It doesn't guarantee you that safety, in KTA Berlin proved our point inside of that round. But now we head over to an alternative bomb site. It is the throne room this time around for the Vipers, and a very extended defense. I don't think there was but one player on the site for the Vipers.
It's questionable decision. Oh my goodness, not again. Ani, this is just cyberbullying at this point. If we were in LAN, it would be regular bullying, but we're not, so it's not. Still mean, though. Another opening kill going away with the Vipers. 3-0 in terms of SAS operators and opening frags, along with Vipers players and opening frags. Fredo trying to turn that back, but you're locking down long angles. Conman a little bit over aggressive on the far side, and that's a questionable decision to say the least. You have an opening kill, just stick with it. Work with that rather than getting over aggressive. That's what costs you rounds, is the over-aggression, the overconfidence. Vipers falling victim to that. Ani, the one to fall in that situation. I don't know about that one.
Questionable operator to put at the front lines for sure, right? The SMG-11 doesn't do great damage at long range. If you are able to land all of your shots, they probably won't do that much, and the SMG-11 has a great deal of kick to it as well. Jeji goes down here on the yellow stairs. I'm not sure if they know that they've got him down though, and they're trying to open up the door to try and get that revive. Meanwhile, Aviate just looking for their opportunity to make it onto site, and I'm sure that Fredo on that drone is calling out and saying, "Hey, there's probably nobody on the site. Let's go get this diffuser down." But Chu winning a big gunfight to the player that's sitting behind the throne. Will the refrag come through here as Vipers currently sit in a man advantage situation? Conman has picked up the diffuser and will eventually try and get it planted. If he gets that thing planted, it is going to be a great situation coming in here for Aviate. Berlin upstairs as well. He has the vertical coverage. He takes down Chu, but Beanyat killing KTA Berlin means that it's all down to Conman alone in this 1v2. 33 seconds remains, and all he has to do is ensure that the diffuser cannot be touched by this Viper's side. He does not need to get onto the aggressive, but what might be a great angle coming in from Louis means that he can guarantee this bomb defusal or the diffuser denial. And now, Beanyat will find that final kill, and Vipers with a very great retake to win them that round, and they're up 2-1.
Overall, a strong round for the Vipers, a questionable decision to play off-site with such a man advantage, but I understand it to a degree. There's a certain part of me that wants to say, play on site, you have such an advantage, but the other part of me understands that you want to play off, try and maybe find another straggling pick, and then maybe work back in a retake situation like we saw there. It's really 50-50 up to what you want to do. Again, the Vipers play a little bit of a different method of siege compared to what everybody's usually used to. That includes going to Drug Lab and Drug Storage, which will be the fourth site in their rotation. Of course, the one site they lost, they won't return to. I believe, if my math serves me correctly, that would be Daycare. Yeah.
It was Daycare, yes. Will Vipers be able to get this going inside of this round? They are trying, yes, like you said, the fourth bomb site out of 4 that are presented on this map. So it seems like they want to, like you said, they had a very strong map pool, and they want to strengthen that even further by trying out every single defense that they have in the books. Now, they are seeing a little bit of success, but Yeji Sosa and Louis have so far been non-factors inside of this game, one sitting at 0-3 and one sitting at 0-1. But Vipers, I mean, they're still in the lead, so you don't really need that production coming out from them as of yet. Ani with those perfect aggressive kills to lead off rounds as well. I mean, Vipers certainly have a good thing going for them. If Aviate can't respond to the opening battles, they've shown no propensity in working things back into their favor. So Vipers, I'm looking for them to, keep this aggression going and try and put the nail in the coffin here for Aviate.
If they go up 3-1 on the defensive side of a map that's not usually played, it's not considered a scrim map, as Clubhouse Cafe in Oregon are, by the way. It's called Borgen for a reason, notably enough. Mm-hmm. Vipers, I think, would be able to run away with this. Notably, again, they're running a little bit of a different defense as we're used to seeing. They're overextending on the bottom floor, and they're also extending on the top floor as well. It's a very off-site type of hold. Cuban looking to get aggressive around the side, somehow still alive. That's notable to choose wielding of the UMP-45, which again, I will highlight is the worst gun in Rainbow Six Siege for justifiable reasons. Even with all those shots landing over that long period of time, it's not going to matter. Finally, they will hit one on Descents, but that's a headshot. Everybody can hit a headshot. Apparently, Chu notable in that one. KTA Berlin doesn't have to, as Yeji will fall. Not a great start again for the Aruni this time around.
Well, most pros inside of Rainbow Six agree that the LMG that Finka brings to the table needs a nerf, and KTA Berlin kind of showing why there. He still has 100 bullets to work with. I think he had the time to get a reload off, and if you can give that time to an LMG, they're certainly going to make you pay for it, as Beanyat will bite the dust, but not before he picks up a kill of his own, and that sets up the timing perfectly for Chu to get a nitro cell off. That is all nitro cells off the board, but Conman trying to push in through, but not aware of the player that was sitting inside of the break room, or at least not able to land the shots. Louis will pick up his first kill of the game, and 55 seconds remain. It is Fredo alone in a 1v3. The diffuser is down inside of the break room as well, so it's all going to have to come down to the fragging if he wants to win this round out. But I think that's Chu downstairs. Yes, that's him giving the information perfectly and alluding to Fredo's positioning as he makes his way down towards the main stairs. No one really has to peek here for Vipers. They can just hold their crosses while Chu has a grand old time with that heartbeat sensor. And 25 seconds and ticking time to light, there is really no chance for Fredo to win this out unless he can get a couple of quick gunfight kills.
With 2 nades available. Oh, no.
Oof.
It's a feels bad, man moment. UMP is going to come
Damn.
out on top of that duel. I think the first time a UMP has won a gunfight this year.
Can we call that a duel? Can we call that a gunfight, though?
No, we can't. No, we can't.
Yeah.
It was a one-sided gunfight. It's like most of the fights I'm in Rainbow Six Siege because I shoot back, I just miss by a country mile. Unfortunately enough, I'm gonna stick with those jokes because they're both funny and true. Vipers on this defensive side are dominating about as much as my opponents do when I try and take them on. And understandably so. They have earned the control that they are getting this time around. 3-1 is the split through 4 rounds of play. They'll head back to the initiation room, and understandably so. They won this relatively convincingly. Ani back on that smoke, and again, why change? Beanyat is 6-3, by the way, on the mute now, taking the mantle of the top fragger, but with 3 players, a total of 1 kill between them. I mean, in terms of range, not in terms of overall adding them up, those being Ani, Chu, and Beanyat, they're really dominating on the defensive side.
Louis was huge inside of that last round, too. If they can get Yeji going, they can turn this, what is already a dominant performance, into something even more than that, which is a scary prospect for every single other team inside of All World Gaming. They're going to have to deal with this Vipers lineup at some point as we head closer and closer into the postseason. And if the Vipers are looking this good, well, it looks a little scary for everyone else. But Aviate are looking to quell this momentum. Will they be able to stop it? That is the biggest question. We've seen this take coming in from Aviate time and time again. Again, they're going for this horizontal take. Maybe they initiate it from the control room this time around. But Ani, once again on the prowl, will he be able to get another kill? That is the biggest question. He loves this SMG early pick.
And understandably so, switching to the Russian reflex, or the Russian red dot. That's the Russian red dot, right? Am I stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it is.
That's the Russian red dot. The Russian reflex is the one that gives you a lot more vision overall.
The green one,
That's that's the green one that everybody loves so much because of how much vision it gives you. Ironically, sights in this game limit your vision more than they give you. At least most of them. The 1.5, 2, and 2.5 are all relatively good between, but the 1Xs are all bad. Iron sights are superior. That's my hot take of the day. No, I'm screwing with you. No, I'm not. I'm screwing with you. Scorpion Hollow all day. That's what I'm going with.
We can have a discussion about this later as Berlin has initiated his attack onto Gong Room and eventually he'll make his way up the Dragon Stairs. Yeji, meanwhile, taking a little bit of damage, but the diffuser is down for Aviate, curiously enough. It is sitting, I'm sure, out here outside of the cafe. Beanyat might be looking to set up a nitro cell kill, but he has no information to play off of. So if he's going to get it, it's certainly going to be through some luck of his own, or maybe just catching a headshot. Beanyat will eventually get refragged, but Yeji is there with another follow-up. He'll pick up his first kill, and a huge one at that. Sense, meanwhile, he's made his way down into lab, but no control here for Aviate. Where are the rest of his team as Cuban is taking a lot of damage as well? So what looked promising for Aviate just might not be so, but Sense continues to pick up these kills. He's been one of the better players on the Aviate side so far, but again, Vipers, they have some very good positioning. Aviate has to push into their long angles.
I want to see Cuban really take control here, and I want to see Fredo get a kill because then it'll be 5-4-3-2-1 on the Aviate side, and that's always really fun to watch, especially when you open up the scoreboard and like in your Counter-Strike matches, and you're like, oh, we're really cool, and then it's usually me on 5 because Counter-Strike's a game I'm good at, and I'm like, oh, I'm also better. Not the point. I digress. Nades being thrown in now, and they're creating some decent space here on the attacking side, and that's Ani dropping, looking for another. Louis somehow stays alive again. He's alive twice over. Finally, will be dropped, but it's a 1-for-1 trade overall in that situation. Chu now in a 1v2. The AUG out, now up against both players that usually wield frags. Only one of them has them left over, and that player that I mentioned is now dropped. A 1 versus 1. That Hollow with the Scorpion attachment to it, the one I was mentioning earlier, being wielded this time around. But Sense on the far side with the ARX in hand needs to be cleared out. Here's the peek. The shot's not hit, but there's the information that everybody loves to work with. Looking to vacate the premises, though. That's exactly what's happened. And there's the audio cue to work with. Chu peeking right, hits the shot as well. Why the heck not pull that one out of the hat? It's another clutch between our 2 maps of play, this time favoring the Vipers side. 4-1, your split through 5. Ani saying he literally has the most 1vx's. After that one, I'd understand.
Yeah, he wins those. He wins those. Ani, you have a pretty good duo in your hands if that statement is absolutely true, because he's gonna win you some rounds that you probably don't deserve. It was a great retake situation coming in from the Vipers, but I have to question this from Aviate. If you are Fredo, why are you sitting behind a soft wall? Why are you sitting there? Find a post-plant position.
In all fairness to him, he planted the diffuser there and then didn't want to move out of that position because they were aware that Shu was on the far side in towards that initiation room. So I understand it. But you have to move. You really have to move, and you have to have that information. Shu had the information, the audio cues existing, plus, of course, Maverick sitting in front of a soft wall that doesn't even cover your entire body when there's a rotate through it. Questionable decisions, to say the least. Viper's taking control of those questionable decisions and Aviate even further on the back foot as now Vipers head back to the throne room.
This is a defense that they've won, despite Aviate getting the diffuser down in the previous throne defense, Vipers were able to win it out. Once again, it came down, I believe it was to a clutch, if I remember correctly, with the diffuser being placed behind the throne. And no, was I wrong?
It was coming down to a clutch. They didn't clutch it out. They didn't clutch it out. That was what it came to. It was like a 2 versus 1 with a bomb down, but no success between that one.
I see the error in my ways, but nonetheless, it seems like we might see the same sort of defense coming in from the Vipers. Aviate have no intention of going for this. They have intention of going for this vertical clear. Question is, what will they do with it? They have one hatch to open up, and I see the hard breachers, so they have the materials to do so. If Vipers have opted to reinforce that hatch, but again, Vipers have seen a great deal of success. They've allowed Conman to enter into maintenance pretty quickly, and that is a crucial wall for them to pick up. With KTA Berlin opening things up once again and winning the entry battle versus Ani, I mean, you have what it takes to win the rest of this round because you've taken away a Nitro Cell, but when you give away free picks like that with Cuban going down, I mean, you throw away your man advantage, and now Vipers, once again, I mean, they're in the advantage considering they're on the defense.
Not only that, but they're building off of it as well. Chu is the lone one on either site, notably enough. In goes an impact. That's going to whiff. I don't know what that was thrown at, to say the very least. Oh, it was nades coming from the other side. I was extremely confused. They were trying to clear out any possible bandit tricking or impact tricking from the other side. So it was smart decisions from Aviate rather than just lackluster utility usage from Vipers. That's what I'd love to see. Smart decision making. But notably enough, they've used 2 of those 8 nades they've walked in with. They've already lost the 2 others from the kill and 2 more through that one as well. That's a challenging scenario to just analyze because I'm both confused and concerned for the fact that nobody put a claymore there because they didn't bring one.
Maybe you would want to have some flank watch. You are 100% correct. Time to light. Oh no, Fredo mistiming the frag grenade from down below as well, and he goes for it a second time, but nobody is there to answer the phone, and you've just wasted 2 frag grenades. You have none left for the rest of your attacking side. So if you want to get this round done, you're going to have to do it through the power of your guns. They've gotten the maintenance wall open, which means they have an entryway onto the site, but look at Viper's positioning. They have the rotation for the barrel side as well, but Chu with a perfect opening, KTA Berlin there with a refrag. Sense goes down on the back line, which means it's down to Berlin alone in a 1v2. They're closing in on his position, but KTA Berlin with a quad kill. Will he be able to get this ace clutch? 15 seconds remaining. He's letting that LMG sing, and there it goes. He finds the headshot. An ace for KTA Berlin. And they're finally able to quell this momentum. A 4-2 half. Yes, Vipers were able to win out the half, but that is a heartbreaking way to give up a 5-1.
An ace over a long period of time with a single reload between the first and last kill. For all of you wondering if the LMG needs to be nerfed, I tried to say nerfed and buffed at the same time. Don't try and do that, kids. Also, yeah, UB, please nerf the LMG. It will help our casting immensely because, well, it's cool to see aces, but at the same time, some of those shots just, you should run out of ammo at some point. Aviate, they don't run out of time, luckily enough for them. Their final attacking round does indeed go their way. It's another 4-2 split favoring the defensive side. We saw that on Club as well. Nothing out of the blue, but still Vipers have a lot of control. This is now the attacking side. They're attacking daycare, notably enough, and give Ani the Type 89, and you just run away. I'm sorry, you have to.
He's a bit scary of an operator with every single gun that he's brought to the board. I mean, he's taking long challenges with an SMG-11. That tells you everything that you need to know about Ani. But inside of the defensive half, I was thinking to myself, maybe Ani was getting a little over aggressive inside of positions, right? Going for picks where they're not really necessary, and that can get you into a lot of trouble as a support player because you are this Habana. You need to stay alive and be able to get these walls open. After that, go on your merry way and find all the kills that you want. But first and foremost, if you are Ani, you need to get these walls open before prioritizing the frags. That is one of the things that I'm going to be looking for inside of this round. Meanwhile, for Aviate, I'm looking for this defensive teamwork to improve, right? You can give them a little bit of leeway on the attack because it's harder to find your timings there, but on the defensive side, all of the pacing is in your favor. You really just need to ensure that you have your crossfires set up for each other. I'm looking for that teamwork to sort of show its head here for Aviate. Otherwise, Vipers could balloon this lead even further.
Vipers on the attacking side is a dangerous just notion to say the very least. I don't like the fact that Yeji is 1-6, yet is still bringing the Zofia. I would rather see them on more of a supporting op, maybe a hard breacher. Yeah, you already have Ani on that Habana, but if Ani somehow falls early on, then you're in an extremely challenging position as an attacking side. You have no extra hard breach utility. You're not bringing a buck with that hard breach tool, so you put yourself in an awkward spot. One of those RCXDs, formally known as Rotera drones, but everybody calls them an RCXD because it's a remote-controlled explosive device. It's just in the name. That will go through and it'll clear out the early shield past that cafe door.
Right, so a horizontal take coming in here from Vipers. They want to force their way into the cafe and eventually through this arcade window as well. They're trying to clear out all of this utility and maybe open up a door for Chu to aggressively drop on in. But Berlin continues his reign of terror from the last round. This is one of the most consistent fragging performances that I've seen in a while. KTA Berlin finding kills and not only doing it in a couple of rounds, he's finding them steadily. And that is something that you love if you are an Aviate fan because, well, he's kind of carrying your team's lifeless body right now. The closest operator or the closest player to him is Sense, currently sitting at 5 kills. After that, you're seeing a bunch of 3s and unfortunately a 0. But it seems like everyone else is waking up here for Aviate as well. Conman finding a kill. It's a huge one as he takes down Bean Yacht. That is your frag grenades off the board. So yeah, things going from bad to worse here for the Vipers as Chu falls. Ani goes down as well. It's all down to Louis, and well, not so much anymore. Aviate able to take that round and dominantly so.
I don't know what just happened. Not literally. I know exactly what I just watched. It's one of those. What did Vipers do on the attacking side? I'll give you all a hint. Lost a lot of gunfights. We're going to see Louis bring the buck, and notably, they'll most likely bring the hard breach utility with them as well. That's going to give you that layered bit of help. Again, they're switching Chu from that Flores in towards the Maverick. Not an awful decision. I like the Flores just in terms of his AR-33 as well. Kind of a nuts gun when you don't have the Thatcher on the board. But down to the throne room goes this Aviate defense. They opt away from the initiation room, and understandably so. Throne's kind of nuts as a defensive side. The Vipers have had their weaknesses with this. They were stuck in a 2 versus 1 scenario favoring them on a retake, and they lost a 4 versus 2 favoring them just locking down the site itself. The ace we saw earlier on from KTA Berlin, one of the catalysts to their 11-5 scoreline. Yeji's back on that Zofia again, and you're not bringing any forms of utility other than that lifeline, and even then, they didn't even get the opportunity to use it. They're 1-7. I don't like to be overly critical of players, but when you continually bring fragging operators when you're not fragging, I don't like it.
I mean, you could pencil that down to the role that he plays for this team, and I mean, if you are a good teammate, right, you're going to encourage your team and ensure that their mental stays up, and you give them every opportunity to find these opening picks, or find any picks in general, not just opening picks. But yeah, I mean, it has to be said, Yeji is struggling mightily. Maybe you pass that Zofia torch onto someone else and see if they can make the LMG duo heavy bit of damage here, but Vipers, again, initiating things through the cafe and arcade side. If they push into this Aviate attack or Aviate defense once again, we could be seeing the exact same story. Yes, the drone work is a little bit more thorough from the Vipers this time around, but again, they're initiating things through this side. They have a bunch of players here from Aviate to try and counteract this. It could be disastrous for them, but a disaster strikes for Aviate as Berlin has been taken out of the game, not by any of the Vipers players, but through his ISP or maybe Ubisoft servers doing a little do-si-do.
Yeah, you got that Wi-Fi diff, and it's just
Wi-Fi
a
diff.
complete DC. Yeah, feels bad, man. It's past the 30-second mark as well, and no damage has been done, but it's still past 30 seconds, so the round's developed enough where you can't rehost. Feels bad, man. Aviate, unfortunately, just have to work with this, and they can't. Louis will get the kill. I don't know if you saw me get completely shocked earlier on. Louis does not bring hard breach utility. I just want to highlight that super duper quickly. Usually you bring those flashbangs for utility burn if there's a Wamai or a Jaeger or even an Aruni on the other side. That's what you bring those flashbangs for, and not a lot of people actually use them for a tactical ability of blinding your opponents nor deafening them. It's usually used for utility burn. That's not going to happen this time around. There's nothing to burn in terms of defensive utility. I want to highlight that super duper quickly. It may not matter because they're in a 5 versus 3 and collapsing onto the site that really has a lack of defense, considering both the man disadvantage and the lack of now utility on the defensive side. But Conman still has all 3 toxic babes, and there's only 50 seconds on the clock, so Vipers are slowly, and I mean slowly, making their way towards the site. Could that cost them later on?
It could very well cost them, but I'm looking at the positions from Aviate. Yes, there are a couple of rotates that allow you to, rotate in and out very quickly, but Conman has been absolutely isolated, and if it weren't for a couple of misplaced shots, they would have found that second kill onto Cuban as well. He's down to a couple of bullets worth of HP, with Fredo sitting towards Gong as well. Last time we checked in on him, he's actually going for this flank. A super risky play coming out, considering that Cuban only has a fraction of his HP, but he finds a kill. That's Louis going down, and 15 seconds remain. Suddenly, Vipers don't have a guaranteed, hold on this round, but they'll close things out. Finally getting the couple of kills. A very tough, a very questionable decision there to not play onto the site, I have to say. But, I mean, he netted a kill from it. Fredo was looking for something to, give him a little bit of confidence, and I think it did. And KTA Berlin will make his way back into the game, so we don't have to take a lengthy pause, but time. Aviate with a questionable strategy there.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Unfortunately, Conman's asking about the whole damage thing. I talked about this past 30 seconds. That's the general rule, and that's the one we run here in AWG, so feels bad, man. If you do DC within 30 seconds of a prep phase, immediately call for rehost for all of you kids who try and play inside of T3 or T4 or even Collegiate Siege. That's the general rule. So make sure you check your rule books because it could help you on the long run. Back into that round, though, you said it. Questionable decisions really from both teams. Vipers had such an advantage yet didn't work off of it quickly enough and put themselves in a susceptible spot to fall to that really awkward defense coming through from Aviate. Again, a questionable rotation around the backside. Yeah, Conman finds one, but past that, you're now dead. Almost certainly, and it became a certainty as Yeji got their second kill on the game as the final kill of the round. Vipers re-extend their lead to 2, and I wouldn't say they're looking good on the attacking side. They were gifted just a little bit in that round, but back to the throne room goes the Aviate side, and they bring a relatively similar comp, but notably, KTA Berlin is alive.
Yeah, they needed his presence inside of that round for sure. It was a tough disconnect, that is for sure. And I mean, nothing you can really do about that. You depend on your teammates. You have trust in your teammates for that particular reason. If the absolute worst happens, which is a disconnection or some sort of people leaving the game for whatever reason, you would depend on the rest of your teammates to get the job done inside of that situation. And unfortunately, Aviate just not able to do so. And again, I want to bring a little bit more attention to that late flank. It was unnecessary to say the least of it, but I mean, if you are Fredo, you're just looking for that little bit of confidence, so I kind of get it. Let's see if he'll be a more contributing member to his team because he carries a lot of great utility. You have those mute jammers available to him as well, or those Wi-Fi routers, and then you also have the nitro cell inside of your back pocket. So you need to stay alive if you are Fredo inside of this round. You cannot afford to give things up for free to the Vipers. You need to either stay alive in this round and get a pick or two of your own, or you need to be quickly traded out so that the kill is as impactless as possible. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Fredo can do inside of this round here, Time to Light.
I'm looking for them to hit some kills. KTA picking up right where they left off before they DC'd with another frag in their favor. For all, again, of you mathematicians out there, it's 1.3 KPR, assuming they don't get another kill before the end of this round. That is nuts, to say the very least, especially against a team as dominant and as mechanically skilled as the Vipers. That doesn't usually happen. They're prepping a nade through. That actually would have landed if Beanyat threw it in. They don't decide to, and now they're still left in this 4 versus 5. KT Berlin continues to get knocked down in terms of their HP, but notably, they're not knocked. They are not dead. They're still alive and kicking and still taking some shots.
You'll be seeing this throughout the round as well. Vipers are down to 2 drones remaining inside of this round. They have had not great drone utility as we head towards the 1 minute mark, so any execution that they want to maintain onto the site is going to have to be through sheer force and with no information gain whatsoever. It's going to be a lot of face checking from the Vipers side. Meanwhile, from Aviate, you can afford to just sit back inside of these extended positions and wait for Vipers to get that execute going. They have one player sitting at the bottom of the yellow stairs. Let's see if they properly flush him out. But KTA Berlin sitting here at the top inside of the vault as well. Ani taking a huge amount of damage here as we coast our way into the 30-second mark. With Chu pushing him here at the bottom of Dragon Stairs. Cuban will eventually go down. The LMG singing true there. And 20 seconds to go for Vipers to mount this attack time.
Versus 4, they need to push this quickly, but they have to clear the corners in that same right. Speed and efficiency, and sometimes speed costs you in terms of that efficiency. The buck from above is just going to cost them, and the Toxic Babes will indeed rain through. They don't have that diffuser, and they don't have time on the clock. This will be the round in terms of Aviate, barring any, well, yeah, it's just not going to happen. It feels bad, man. I don't know what the Vipers are doing. For one example, is taking a lot of time to push rather than time too late. It hurt, to say the very least.
I've missed your jokes, brother.
Terrible name puns are my name of the game, rather than hitting your shots.
I mean, it's just terrible puns in general from you, isn't it? But yeah, Vipers, not the strongest showing inside of that last round, and I think that all comes down to their drone economy. They had 2 drones remaining, as we were talking about, towards that 1 minute mark. They had no information to play off of, and that allowed Fredo to pick up his second kill of the game, and it was through that soft wall that most people leave or establish a prone hole there to try and get some peeks through. They had to barrel their way. If you were the Vipers, right, you had to barrel your way in through the Dragon Door, and that is a fatal funnel, to say the least. Shout out to my boy Chief Cast, by the way. He loves that sort of saying. Yeah, granted, he probably hasn't used it in a while, but nonetheless. Yeah, all of Vipers funneled their way in through one singular door, and Fredo, and I think it was Sense alive as well, able to pick up the kills there in Aviator. Only down by 1, so a very strong showing from them for sure.
I still want to question what the heck has happened to the Vipers' attack. We're going to see Chu switch on towards that Jackal. Yeji is still playing Zofia. Again, Yeji has 2 kills in the game, 1 on the attacking side, and that was onto a dropping Smoke who quite literally could not have won the gunfight if they wanted to, because they were dropping vertically. Yeah, you don't win your gunfights when you're dropping vertically, notably when you're looking down rather than up and your opponent is above you. That's just not going to go your way. Louis has done okay, but it's really been Beanyat and Shu, the catalysts to any success they've had on the attack. Ani has 2 kills since the switch, and usually we're singing their praises, yet we haven't gotten the opportunity to. They're not winning gunfights, and neither is the entirety of the Vipers squad. For most of these scenarios, they're taking too much time to push, and it's hurting them in the long run. Granted, Aviate are helping themselves in those situations, notably KTA Berlin, with yet another frag in their favor. This guy can't be stopped. As much as I hate to say it, this guy cannot be stopped. Switching to the Legion, and that's about as much of a fragging potential operator as you can get. Yeah, it's a trap op, but the gun's nuts.
Yeah, the gun's one of the best in the game. The T5 SMG is an absolutely disgusting piece of weaponry, especially when placed into the right hands. It has absolutely no kick. It kills at pretty decent ranges, considering that it is an SMG. You love to have the you love to have the T5 SMG in your hands, regardless of what position that you are playing. KTA Berlin is proving that point exactly, and he's still alive, which means that his Legion mines, his goo mines, keep on regenerating. That just makes things even more difficult for the Vipers if they decide to turn their attention toward him, trying to clear him out. KTA Berlin holds a crucial position here inside of the bathroom because he has vertical presence, but someone slipped through the cracks. One person has made it into the inside of Cafe, which opens up the ability for the rest of the Viper's attack to try and push on in. But they're pushing in straight to gunfire as Conman finds a kill, Sense as well as Cuban all picking up kills, which means it's down to the lowest fragger here on the Vipers. It's Yeji to try and clutch out the round, and he will get slammed by the pistol at a very shallow and narrow angle. What?
Good night.
What?
Good night. That's all I say. Good night.
GM.
Yeah.
Absolutely so. Yeah, Vipers mismanaged their time, had trouble clearing out the roamers as well, and suddenly, something that we couldn't have predicted, Aviate are actually tied up with the Vipers.
Yeah, this is bad. Aviate are usually in this limbo situation with their roster. We've talked about this before. We talked about it before we went live, where Aviate are 1-4 technically. They lost a couple games because of forfeits, so they've only really lost off of merit twice. But, and I say but because it's important, they're not looking good in terms of overall fragging power for their team, yet KTA Berlin's still nuts, and the Vipers are wasting too much time on the attacking side. Well, yes, I will give it to them. Aviate have deserved to win some of these rounds. I don't know if it's more them deserving to win or Vipers deserving to lose, especially in some of these situations where they already have the man advantage, like a 5 versus 4 that you get because the defense has lost their highest fragger, yet you still wait 2.5 minutes to push. Why?
Yeah. The Vipers need to operate with a little bit more pace. They need to be...
Hold up. I've been given information. They don't have losses based off of merit. They have 3 inherited losses because they joined late. That is the reasoning. So they actually picked up losses from their predecessor, which I don't know who that was. Hold up. Team Aviate, click to toggle. High Voltage dropped out of the league. Team Aviate take their place. High Voltage's record is inherited. So 3 of their early losses are inherited. They're not notable based off their own team, but notably they are still in roster limbo. So I want to correct myself. Apologies for that one. Did not have all the information.
1,000%. So Aviate, I mean, they could just be a sleeper team as we head into the later stages of this season. They're in a place where they have to win a bunch of their games to have any hopes in hell of making the postseason, but certainly can be done considering that KTA Berlin just cannot be killed. I'm pretty sure it's been many a round since he's died. We're not going to count that rehost round, but yeah, KTA Berlin has been one of the hardest players to kill on this Aviate side. Meanwhile, for Vipers, Ani hasn't had the same sort of impact in terms of, early game. He loves taking those really early sort of gunfights. Yeji, again, we hate to mention his name, but he still needs to pick it up from a fragging standpoint. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Beanyat and Chu have actually been silenced over the past few rounds. They've been sitting at that 12-10 mark for a lengthy period of time as we head into the action phase. They got to get things going. Vipers have certainly been brought to a standstill inside of these rounds, and yeah, they might blow this lead here, Tom.
I don't know what's happening to the Vipers. I can't whittle it down to a single thing because it's a multitude of errors, or a comedy of errors, if you will, because my jokes are terrible, as are their shots, at least in the previous few. As much as I hate to say it, it's both funny and true, notably for some other things I've said thus far today. Vipers just haven't been winning their gunfights, and a catalyst to that is them not winning rounds, or vice versa, because they haven't also been gaining a lot of ground that they've been given. by this Aviate side. Well, yes, Aviate have been locking down the site specifically. They have not been locking down the ground around it much quicker. And what's costing them in that situation is the real estate surrounding the site rather than the real estate that's the site itself. The nade goes a little bit far, almost goes in, but, well, look at that. KTA Berlin will vacate that position, and understandably so. You don't want to over-aggress in scenarios that you will almost certainly die in.
He's eventually going to relocate away from the top of Dragon and make his way down towards the yellow hallway. I love this play from KTA because he's wasted great deal of the Viper's utility. You mentioned the nade. I think they burned a couple of lifeline launchers on him as well to no avail. KTA Berlin is still kicking with 100% of his HP. So, yeah, not a great clear if you are the Vipers. Yes, you gain the map positioning, but not much else. Yeji finally finding that third kill. He picks up Cuban on the castle, and well, Cuban's probably put down all of his utilities, so not the greatest pick to find. But yeah, you still reduce the round count. You still reduce the round count. You also instill that confidence back into Yeji, who unfortunately does not check his corner and eventually gets down. So that confidence that he once had is now gone. Is Fredo gone? No, he is not, Time.
You need to cook your nades, kids. You know he's there, and he hasn't made it out yet, so you throw the nade, you cook it, and then you force them out of position and shoot them. Then you know exactly when they have to run away, and you get a free kill because of it. They don't cook the nade nor clear the angle as well as they most likely should have. Costs them probably not a free frag, but a frag you should still get, at least in your favor. And it's now down to a 4 versus 4 as Yeji dies for the 10th time in 11 rounds of play. Not looking great for them specifically, but the final 10 seconds, and they have not even started this push on the site. The Toxic Babes are not going to allow you to walk in, at least not for free. You're going to take a lot of damage to them. Sense will get one, and it's just falling apart yet again for the Viper squad. Delaying, to say the very least. Even... What? Hold of... What? He gets the... What? He gets a double to close it out? I thought they lost it. Vipers bring it back, a 4 versus 4 with 12 seconds left, and they win it. Okay, whatever. Why not, right? I've been shocked so many times this map. Why not shock me again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see you in your chair. You were like 2 seconds away from like getting up and dashing up out of your room. And yeah, Louis had the same idea, just in reverse. He dashed into the room and picked up every single kill necessary to win that round. It was a sea of orange, and I thought it was absolutely chalked for the side of the Vipers, but then yeah, just some clutch kills coming out from Louis secures them that round. So winning that round off the skin of their teeth. Aviate can still hold a little bit of confidence though, because their defenses have been dominant when it hasn't been pure luck driving the Vipers into the realms of victory. So if you're Aviate, you need to lock things down here because, well, one, you don't want to lose, but two, I mean, you've been the stronger defensive side so far. Your backs are against the wall because you're on match point. KTA Berlin, let's I mean I hate saying like one singular name because it seems like, you know, I'm showing a little bit of favoritism to the players or whatever, but Berlin has been a human highlight reel, and he's holding these forward positions and really stopping the Vipers in their tracks. Let's see if he can do it once again.
1/3 of the team's kills. I just did the quick math in my head. 13 of 39 in favor of the squad, if I did my math properly. I actually don't think I did now that I look at it. No, I did. Yeah, 13 of 39. Good job, me. Vipers 6-5, though, still winning. The one-man dominance isn't as expressive on that side, but it's still there. Binyat, the notable one. It was mainly on the defensive side, as was Ani's majority of kills, who was still on 7 frags, by the way, since the last time I mentioned it. Mm-hmm. This isn't looking good for Ani specifically, and Vipers as a whole, a catalyst to that one. There's no wall denial minus that mute, which can be cleared out relatively easily. A quick nade thrown in, you're good to go. They don't have nades. I just realized, but there's actually not even a mute on that wall anymore. Why is there no mute on that wall? Are you kidding me? What?
The mute being used primarily for information denial would be my first guess. He doesn't have any left in his pocket, so they have to be used somewhere. I'm not 100% sure where, but something that has, you know, bit the Vipers in the butt a little bit, though, has been their information game. It has been relatively weak at points, so I mean, Fredo probably playing that to his advantage. You can give up the wall because the Vipers, I mean, they're droning right now, but let's see what information they can get off of it, because the drone game so far for them has been a little weak, and Aviate has these extended positions as well, so they are susceptible to flanks.
I'd like to see a good old-fashioned rush B don't stop. They have the wall open. They still have an EE1D, actually 2 of them available. A good old-fashioned rush wouldn't be all that bad. You throw a couple flashes in, get some smokes down. The only plant denial they have on the defensive side is the Toxic Babes and 1C4, but with those smokes now being taken off the board along with a set of flashes, it's now falling apart yet again. And for the Vipers, who are taking too much time and not winning the long-range nor long-term gunfights, statistics not in their favor whatsoever. A ping does come through onto the now aggressing smoke. No, yeah, it is a smoke. Conman's getting aggressive there, and for some reason, I don't know why. There's no reason to. Cuban apparently showing us exactly why. They'll get the kill, but there's the flank around. Sense will fall, as will Cuban hold the phone. Ani is pushed through. It's gone from a 2 versus 5 to a 2 versus 2. Again, it's turning around. Beanyat checking behind him. That's where they are. Beanyat, turn around. He's right behind you. He should get peeked here. It's into the 1 versus 2 as they've downed him and finished him off with that Toxic Babe. The swing around, Beanyat does know about that flank, but with now just 15 seconds left, has to hit the shots on both players who aren't peeking him. Conman does, and through the wall will close things out. We're headed to OT on theme.
Overtime is where we are headed. Aviate winning that round again off the skin of their teeth, because Vipers apparently have this magic aura amongst them, but not able to dial it fully into a round win in that instance. Aviate are still in the defense, and a lot of their defensive success time has come down to Berlin finding these openers and thinning out the members of the Vipers one by one. So I'm looking for Berlin to hold this extended positioning once again, because if he can do that, then the Vipers, they lose Ani probably, because he's very susceptible to losing these entry battles, as we have a Reef host, unfortunately. The cursor bug is nothing fun. But to continue my point, time. Aviate win rounds when Berlin is able to, work his entry magic and slow down the Viper's attack. That is the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking for, especially in this coming game. Other than that, if you're the Vipers, your attacks haven't been that bad. You just got to clear up the entries a little bit and work off your information.
You have to play quicker as well.
Yeah.
I really want to make that a known point as well. Yeah, they've been winning a few gunfights here and there. That round, they shouldn't have even been that close. Aviate, I'm not going to say they threw, but they should have played with the information they were working with. They knew where the final 2 players were, one being outside of the barrel's position, the other one in towards the generator wall. Again, it was an okay round from Aviate. One that I think they deserved to win, but in that 2 versus 2, I really thought Vipers deserved to bring it back. Notably, it should have been Ani to bring it back in that situation. Yet they didn't, and that feels bad. Man. But, and I say but again, speed is the name of the game here for the Viper side. They've been put into situations where they're forced into awkward positions on the attacking side, and in the final 30 to 40, maybe even 50 seconds of a round before they push in, not the time specifically, but before they start that initial push and the final push into the site, they just don't make any ground. They get good real estate. They do absolutely nothing with it for 50 seconds, delay until there's 20, maybe 30 seconds left, and then decide to walk into a meat grinder that is the defense of Aviate.
Yeah, Vipers have had this problem, like you were mentioning, where they enter the building really well, right? Like they're able to clear out like 1 or 2 positions. Yes, I know Berlin has been one of the biggest benefactors in terms of that, but Vipers have had no problem with getting into the building. The biggest problem is that once they get into the building, what are they doing with it? You mentioned that yourself, but they stall out so heavily once they're in their attacking positionings. Once they're setting up for their executes, it seems like they're maybe waiting for Aviate to make a mistake, and Aviate have been very disciplined in terms of their defensive half, in terms of not giving up any picks or anything for free. So if you're Vipers, right, you need to take a little bit of the initiative. That is why you're on the attacking side, whether that be through some drone work and a gun to follow it up, or just face checking for something. For all I care, you can't afford to be held in these preliminary positions for 30 seconds because it's just not going to get the job done. I'm looking for Vipers to improve their pace, like you said, but also just not get stuck in terms of trying to initiate things in terms of their attacks.
Aviate, I think in their situations, they had a better defense than they did attack, but not by as much as our scoreline indicates. I think they were gifted a few rounds. I'm going to maintain that because I like to be correctly critical of teams, and Vipers, their attack just was lackluster to say the least. Now, in all fairness to them, Aviate fell victim to the exact same thing before we switched halves, but as it looks like we almost send things back into play. Aviate, we're just missing one of their players. I'd like to see Vipers play a lot quicker. Notably, Vipers do start on the attacking side, which is the less beneficial side as we look at our regulation trends. But of course, trends can change. Vipers, of course, were 4-1 coming into this. Aviate 1-4, but they inherited 3 of those losses. So see that as you will.
Do with that what you will. Absolutely. For Aviate, I mean, like you said, their defense has been much stronger than their attack, but some rounds Vipers have just been like some of the decision making hasn't been 100% there. I'm looking for Aviate, to take advantage of when keep taking advantage of when the Vipers offer that up to you, but also, I mean, some of these rounds are just winning off of merit. Some of these rounds they're just the better team. I mean, and that the same could be said for the Vipers on their attacking side, right? Sometimes they are just the better team, but we've seen a couple of these rounds go down to just little mistakes at the end, whether that be just the coverage being in off spots or, just feeding 1v1s to a clutch position player. It's something that both of these teams need to clear up for sure. As we have everyone in the lobby, we're just waiting to get things started up and making sure that both of the teams are ready. But I mean, as we head into overtime, what are you looking for from both of these teams as we are starting off with Aviate on defense, which is a dangerous prospect for the Vipers? But what are you looking for from these squads?
For Aviate, I'm looking for playing off-site more and holding that on the defensive side. At least their attack, they need to play quicker. Vipers are in that exact same right, just minus the playing off-site. They did that perfectly fine on their defensive side. They just need to play quicker. So much quicker. Yeah. I want to highlight that again. Speed. Vipers, freaking go. Play like bronzes, all right? I don't care. Just hit your shots and play like bronzes.
Hold on. Bronzes is generous, okay? That's
No. I'll explain why. Because bronzes still sometimes hit their shots. Coppers just don't. But bronzes sometimes hit their shots. I have a couple friends that know how to hit their shots better in bronze. Not only because solo queue, but because they're bad at other prospects of the game. But you need to rush. Sometimes a rush is the call. I want to quickly highlight something that Death Monarch, who again is our amazing stats person, they are amazing. Go give them a high five in chat. I don't remember their in chat name, but it's something clerk. Aviate have 5 opening kills as a team. Vipers have 7. Each individual player on Vipers has at least 1 opening kill. But for Aviate, of their 5 openers, 4 of them go the way of KTA Berlin.
Yep.
What?
It all comes down to his positioning still. I mean, KTA Berlin loves these extended positions. Like, I've seen him on the top of Dragon a million times over.
Hey, Santos. Dragon D's nuts across your chin.
Yeah, there it is. That's my casting duo, guys. That's Time to Light. TTL Cast on Twitter. Go give him a follow or yell at him for bringing a DN joke into a professional cast. Do whatever you want.
I asked Schmitty. He said it's okay.
No, I know he said it's okay. I just can't believe you went through with it. I'm still kind of mad at you for it, but it seems like some aggression flying through from Vipers, the Ying Candelas, and the Ace Selma charges all swinging through, making sure that nobody inside of the break room can respond if they want to, try and hold off this position. The Ace charges, it seems that they have been successfully deployed, and the Ying Candelas were certainly a part of that. I loved the play coming out from the Vipers, and Now they have a little bit of map control, but Aviate have repositioned perfectly. And look at KT Berlin. He's already on his rat roam. He's back on the same BS that he was on before. And yeah, he's going to help the player inside of initiation play this extended position for sure.
My terrible jokes aside, apologies for all of you who didn't like that one. Yeah, that happens. I found an opportunity and I took it. I'm not gonna lie. I said to Schmitty earlier, every time that you said dragon or dragon stairs, I was thinking about it, but he said it's okay, so I did it. Deal with it. Get wrecked. Plus ratio. Vipers on the attacking side are still playing slow. I hate to say it, but they are. I'm highlighting again the exact same thing. Cuban gets the 6th kill for Aviate, 6th opening kill for Aviate, the second different player to get one, or third different player, him being that third. Again, Aviate are playing a little bit more off-site this time, but they're playing a strong and condensed defense that is working, notably enough. Vipers are going to bring one back as the aforementioned Cuban will fall. Overall, a 1-for-1 trade, but a delayed trade to say the very least, and Vipers aren't building off of this.
No, they're not. They're still stuck here inside of this control and initiation side. You have Ani pushing in through the vault, trying to get something going on that end, but he has a tough defensive position to deal with because they can peek off of Ani really quickly. He is trying to hold as narrow of an angle as possible to reduce the chances of him getting absolutely destroyed, but there's a shotgun waiting on the other side of the initiation rotate as well, so Aviate holding these positions perfectly, and they're playing very disciplined, right? Not giving any picks off to the Vipers. The first of the smoke grenades are coming out too. So what was already a stall from the Vipers has turned into an absolute engine brake as, I mean, they're not pushing through. They're waiting for these picks to happen, but the time keeps ticking time.
They shifted it back to first gear as they start rolling down a hill, and it's really rolling away from them. Louis prepping a nade. This will land if they throw it correctly. It does land, but not quickly enough. Fredo avoids it, and they have to clear this close corner. They will. They do get one, but Conman brings one right back. The 3 versus 3 now. The diffuser making its way onto the site. Delayedly enough, it may not matter. KTA Berlin in a 1 versus 3. If anyone was to be left in this situation, it would be KTA. Just not going to happen. Nice Mark 14 shot across. You're not going to survive that one long enough. They switched to the, well, actually a 2x instead of 3x on the Mark 14. Nonetheless, the Dokebi wins it out. Vipers play slow. I hated to watch it, but they still pick it up.
Yeah, the execution was absolutely brutal. They were able to find 2 huge picks, and Berlin, as much as I love him playing these offsite positions, was not in position to get, 1, a flank going, but 2, not in great position to deny the entries either. I think he was trying to rotate back towards Yellow Stairs and play the long haul angle, but not able to find anything. And yeah, by the time he makes his way back to Yellow, it seemed that all of the Vipers had already pushed into the site, so no opportunity for him to gather any picks and alleviate any of the pressure that was on him. But let me ask you this time, have you seen anyone run the 3X on DMR? I have yet to see it inside of, like, you know, T3, T2, T1, whatever.
I mean, I haven't gotten many options to see people run the DMR. You don't usually see Dokebi played, in all fairness. It is an off pick comparatively. I bring Dokebi a decent bit inside of my ranked play because A, I'm a moron, and B, I like the Mark 14 on offense. Overall, a very strong gun, has a good fire rate if you have a trigger finger. Luckily for me, I do. But the 3X isn't the greatest sight in all situations. That's the main reason that you don't run it. And the 2X being brought, it's sound for both long and short range positions. You have good spray control with it, and you have good sight lines along range. Overall, it's a good decision. I just by default thought they were going to bring the 3X because it's available, and usually when you have a higher sight, you use it. That is no longer the case comparatively because of the fact that just about everything is available now.
Well, everything you said about you being a moron is absolutely true. I
There you go.
love casting with you nonetheless, but yeah, it is. There is some truth to that statement that needs to be said. Now, Aviate on the attacking side, they're dealing with the Vipers' defense of the initiation room and the bank vault. They're able to clear out the opening position of the cash room relatively quickly. I think there was a deployable shield there, and as well as the actually the deployable shield is still there. It's just the reinforced hatch that gets taken care of from the side of Aviate. Conman doing absolute bits there with the X-Kairos launcher, and now, I mean, Aviate, they're doing the drone work. They're doing the due diligence and want to see how they want to mount this attack. It seems like they're going to stick to this horizontal game plan, which makes sense considering that, well, that's not a great way to start off the horizontal attack. As Berlin goes down, not able to use the Finka boost to put himself back up into play as well, and yeah, suddenly things not going great for Aviate. They mounted a comeback, but suddenly the Vipers have woken up.
Oh no, and Berlin, stims
Yeah,
himself back
that's tough.
alive and still has the adrenal surge as they walk into a toxic babe. Dies quicker because of it. We talked about this earlier. If you'd like to go back into it, I think it was somewhere around like round 3 or 4. Go back in the VOD. It's useful information for you to know in your ranked games or any games, to be specific or non-specific, to be completely honest. We've run into the mute bug, but it's going to be short-lived. 1 versus 5. Ani will fall 2-1 thus far in OT, and well, OT has come to a conclusion. A quick one at that, as quick as it can be. Nice shots landed across. That'll do it. Vipers take things on Theme Park 8-6. It took a little bit of a rehost and some OT, but a strong finish to say the very least for the Vipers side.
Yeah, the last 2 rounds from the Vipers was what I was expecting from them throughout the great deal of this game, and that is extremely tough coming in from Aviate, only picking up 4 rounds post rehost or 4 kills post rehost. That's simply not going to get the job done. You can't even win yourself 1 round with 4 kills, or I mean you can, but it'd have to be a pretty weird round of siege. But yeah, a great performance there from the Vipers overall, but Aviate really showed us something there.
Yeah, Aviate show us that their inherited record isn't fully indicative of their own skill set, but they still lose the game. In the end of the day, that's still a loss. Now, albeit it was an overtime loss, unfortunately for them, points don't work like that in AWG. We don't have the NAL or EUL point system, so an OT loss is just as good as a 7-0, unfortunately, for them. Nonetheless, they still show a little bit of prowess and try and build themselves as a roster overall. I wouldn't say it was a great showing from them, but it was certainly a strong one to build yourselves back into it and show that you can play Theme Park well.
I mean, by the wayside, too, I don't think that was the strongest Vipers that I've seen in a while.
True.
I mean, there were just some baffling entry mistakes or some baffling just time decisions. That being said, they still are the winners, so they can do all the analytical work on their end because, frankly, I'm a caster and don't really know what I'm talking about. They put, like you said, like you're a moron, I am also one, and they put us on the desk together for some reason. But time, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a while.
It has. It's been way too long. If you're looking for some more AWG action, we have some Easter action for all of you. If you don't celebrate Easter and you just want to watch something, come right back here, 4 p.m. Eastern on Easter. Next Sunday, April 17th, for some more AWG action from either Division 1 or Division 2, or sometimes even a combination of them. We'll be right back here, hopefully enough, barring any family disturbances, at 8 p.m. for the final 2 games of the night. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.